Just landed in Dublin and wondering about the fastest, easiest way to get into the city? You're not alone. Dublin Airport can feel a little overwhelming when you first step out of arrivals for the first time. But the good news, getting to the city centre is actually quite simple once you know your options. And choosing the right one can save you time, money, and a whole lot of stress, especially after a long flight. In this video, I'll break down every way to get from Dublin Airport to the city centre, from the cheapest routes to the most comfortable ones, so you can pick what works best for your budget, your luggage, and your travel style. Let's get you out of the airport and into Dublin. All right, let's start with the cheapest way possible. First of all, there is currently no train, metro, or tram directly from the airport to the city centre, as you'd find in other major cities. I wanted to find the cheapest option in Dublin, and that would be Dublin Bus. Bus routes 41 and 16 connect Dublin Airport to Lower Abbey Street and O'Connell Street in the city centre. It costs $2.60 using a Leap card, but it can also take 45 to 60 minutes depending on traffic. It stops a lot. If you're tired, carrying 3 suitcases, or arriving after 11 p.m., this might not be the experience you want to start your trip with. So yes, it's the cheapest way to get into Dublin, but what if you're willing to spend just a little bit more for comfort, Wi-Fi, luggage storage, and no stress? Well, that's where the next option comes in. If you'd rather skip the bus but save a few euros on a taxi, this option is one of the best ways to get from Dublin Airport to the city, and it's what a lot of locals recommend to visiting friends. So 2 main services run direct routes, the Aircoach and the Dublin Express. Both take you straight to the key city stops like O'Connell Street, Trinity College, and Temple Bar, so you'll be right in the middle of it all before you know it. Tickets cost around €8 to €9 one way, and you'll usually save a bit if you book a return or round-trip ticket online. The buses run every 15 to 30 minutes from early morning until late at night, so no long waiting around even after a late flight. So here's what people love on these buses. There's Wi-Fi on board, so you can message home immediately or pull up your Google Maps. Your luggage goes underneath. It's not wedged between your knees or rolling down the aisle. And there's no guessing where to get off. The driver and onboard announcements tell you where each stop is very clearly. But here's the thing a lot of tourists don't realize. These buses often drop you very close to where most hotels actually are, but not always exactly at the door. So if you hop off a little bit too early, you could end up walking 10 or 15 minutes, dragging a heavy suitcase over Dublin's famously uneven pavements. Don't worry though, in the next section, I'll show you how to choose the right stop for your hotel area and the one mistake that can cost you a taxi fare on top of your bus ticket. So you've just walked through arrivals at Dublin Airport. You can already feel that mix of excitement and jet lag. And right outside the doors, you'll spot the taxi ranks waiting. Now it's very tempting to just hop straight in. And honestly, for some people, that's the right choice. But here's what to know before you do. There's a taxi rank in both terminals. There's also a pre-booked taxi area where you can book using apps like Uber, FreeNow, which is the one mostly used here, and Bolt. A taxi from the airport to the city centre usually costs between 30 and 40 euro, depending on traffic and the exact drop-off point. A ride takes around 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the time of day. And this option is perfect if you're traveling with 2 to 4 people or a family, especially if you've got heavy luggage or you're arriving late at night when public transport is limited. Also, it's not a tourist scam culture like some cities, but if traffic is bad, and it often is, the meter can rack up. Now, it's door-to-door easy and a nice way to just exhale after a long flight. But what if I told you there's a way to get a private driver, know the price in advance, and skip the taxi line completely. That's where the next option feels like a secret only seasoned travelers know about. If you're planning a trip to Dublin or even just dreaming about it, download my free Dublin Playbook. It's your friendly checklist for planning your trip, from booking flights to packing, and it even includes local tips most tourists never hear. The link is in the description box below. Now, this next option is the one I wish I had known about when I first landed in Dublin as an American. You're tired, your brain's a little bit foggy, and you just want someone to make it easy. Companies like Welcome Pickups let you pre-book a driver online before you even leave home. It usually costs around 45 to 55 euros, so just a little bit more than a regular taxi, but the experience feels completely different. They'll track your flight, meet you right at arrivals holding a sign with your name on it, help you with your luggage, take you straight to your destination, no line, no confusion, and no stress. And the best part? You know the price before you land. There's no guessing, no worrying about meters racking up, and no awkward moment trying to calculate a tip in euros when you're running on 3 hours of sleep. Plus, these drivers are usually fantastic storytellers. You can literally say, "Hey, where should I get my first pint of Guinness?" And they'll tell you with that local charm that makes you feel instantly welcome. But if you're celebrating something special, maybe an anniversary trip, a birthday, or you just want to arrive in Dublin feeling like royalty, there's one more level above this. Now imagine this. You've just stepped off the plane after a long flight. Your driver greets you by name, takes your luggage, and walks you out to a sleek black Mercedes waiting just outside. You slide into soft leather seats. There's a bottle of water waiting for you, maybe even a little piece of chocolate. And for the first time all day, you can just breathe. This kind of experience usually costs between 80 and 120 or more, depending on the company and the vehicle. It's the option used by celebrities, honeymooners, and business executives. Anyone who wants that smooth, stress-free arrival where everything is handled for them. If you're here for a special anniversary or you just want to start your trip in style, this is one of those moments you'll never forget. But before we wrap up, which option should you actually choose? It really comes down to two key things, and most visitors only think about one of them. All right, let's make this easy. Forget the long lists and overcomplicated travel guides. When you're choosing how to get from the airport into the city, there are really just two questions that matter. The first one, what matters most to you, price, comfort, or speed? If you're on a tight budget and you don't have a lot of luggage and are familiar with Dublin, take the Dublin bus. It's the cheapest option and it gets you there even if it's not glamorous. If you want a little more comfort and value, the Aircoach or Dublin Express are your best bets. They're direct, reliable, and built for travelers. If you're 3 or 4 people traveling together, like a family or a girls' trip, you've got kids with you or you've got big suitcases, a taxi might actually work out about the same price per person, and it's door to door. If you want no stress at all, go with Welcome Pickups or another private transfer. You'll glide straight from the arrivals to your hotel. And if you're in the mood to treat yourself or you're celebrating something special, a VIP chauffeur is the way to go. That's just pure arrival magic. Now, the second question you might ask yourself is, where are you staying? If your hotel is near Temple Bar, Trinity College, or Grafton Street, the Aircoach or Dublin Express are perfect. They'll drop you close to the action. If you're staying near Smithfield or Houston Station, you might take the bus and walk a few minutes or grab a quick taxi. And if your hotel's in the Docklands or the Grand Canal area, honestly, a taxi is much easier than dragging a suitcase over cobblestones and curbs when you're jet-lagged and overwhelmed. And that's everything you need to know to get from Dublin Airport into the heart of the city, quickly, easily, and without the stress. If this helped you plan your arrival, make sure to hit the like and subscribe. I've got so many more Dublin tips coming your way. And before you go, Don't miss my next video, 10 mistakes tourists make in Dublin and how to avoid them. It'll save you time, money, and a few awkward travel moments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.